Hello, everyone. I am Corion, your witch in residence, and this is the Sunday Sermon. And today we're going to talk about what we can learn from the first two episodes of the new Disney Plus series, Obi-Wan. Before I get too deep into it, though, I would like to encourage you to please drop a like on this video. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I hope that through my words and deeds, I can encourage you to do so. And if you find these videos to your liking, please share them out everywhere you possibly can. My goal is to hit 100 subscribers by June. If I do, I promise I will do a special video with something I think a lot of you would find very interesting. So please consider doing so. Thank you very much. And with that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's get into the video. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The name harkens back to Star Wars fans near and wide. We all know him. We all know most of his story. But this appears to take place in those years in the gap, after the fall of the Jedi Order, but before Luke starts his great journey. And what do we find Obi-Wan in a situation of? He looks like he has very severe PTSD. He's simply going through the motions of his life. Every day is blending into another. And when we take a look, we got to ask ourselves, well, why is he like that? Well, let's take a look at the loss he's experienced. His entire family was the Jedi Order, and it's gone completely. He not only failed to save his brother and the boy that he effectively raised that looked up to him like a father figure. He's lost his mentor. He's lost his position in the galaxy, a position of, great honor that and duty, and people looked up to the Jedi. Now they don't, because they failed, and he feels he failed, and that's a hard thing to live with. But I will say this: how we handle defeat is just as important, if not more important, than how we handle a victory. Well, Obi-Wan isn't taking it well. He's desperately trying to reach out to his mentor, who doesn't seem to be messaging him back quite yet. And, he's in a very bad place. A place of a withered soul, somebody who's been beaten, defeated, who's afraid. There is a saying among witches, which is, to learn you must suffer. Obi-Wan is definitely suffering, but the question becomes, what can he learn from that? And more importantly, what can we learn from his learning so that we don't have to suffer nearly as badly? Well, this loss is teaching him primarily not to lose hope, that there is still hope. He's watching hope grow up, the new hope of the series. So he's observing hope, but he doesn't have it himself. He's not trying his powers. He's cut himself off virtually from the Force. And it's only an external event, the capture of a young girl, that rouses him out of this continuous state of depression and sorrow. He's very hesitant to use his Jedi abilities. And we have to ask ourselves why. Well, let's take a look. The last time he really used the Force at all was when he killed his brother, or at least he believed he killed his brother, Anakin Skywalker. That kind of trauma, that kind of hurt is going to remain with you. It's why a lot of people who wind up with a traumatic event in an environment will now permanently attempt to remove themselves from that environment. And sometimes this works for them, right? I know a lot of motorcycle riders who have terrible accidents and they decide to never get on a motorcycle again. And that's a reasonable answer in those cases. But let's be honest, between you and I, he needs his abilities. They define him as part of himself. So he has to get back up on that horse, even after being thrown off. And he has to learn how to get stronger. Because it is important that we stand up after a terrible event. Let me give you a personal example. Some of you may not know, but my wife and I had what effectively amounts to an adoptive daughter, and we loved her. We loved her just like she was one of our own. And in a series of really terrible events, she died. And when she died, while she was dying, my wife, who had also been there at her birth, performed a bit of ritual for her to keep her on the path that we always had hoped to envision for her. Afterwards, though, my wife found it incredibly difficult to go back into a ritual space, to be the priestess that she has always been and always meant to be. And it took a long time. It took her 8 years, actually, to build up enough courage, enough willpower after that event to be able to perform ritual again. Now, when she did, she came out just that much stronger. And I've always been in awe of her beauty and capability in regards to this. Because again, it's not that we fall down, because we all fall down, but it's how we choose to get back up. So I guess the biggest question I have to ask is, have any of you experienced a traumatic event? I'm sure you have. But more importantly, how did you get back up from it? How did you decide that you weren't going to allow these events to rule your destiny? You weren't going to allow those things to hold you back, right? All too often these days we see people say, I can't because I have XYZ. And to me, that has always felt like they are allowing their fear and doubt to define them. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these things you can't actually do. Like, look, if you get a peanut allergy, look, don't try to overcome that by just eating peanuts or something, okay? Please don't. But if you've had something terrible happen to you, it's important to try to get back up on that horse. It's important to not let it define you. You know, for ages, we wouldn't want you to, because you say had a rock climbing accident, never climb a mountain again, right? It's important for you to pick that up and try again. It's important for you to get back into a car after a bad car accident and drive. Not necessarily so that you can continue driving all for the rest of your life. If you want to take the bus from then on, fine. But it's important to sit back in that car, start it up, and take it maybe for a drive once, just to prove to yourself that it doesn't control you, that your trauma does not define you. What does define you is your ability to go beyond trauma, to learn from that trauma, and to evolve yourself and move forward. So what I'd like to ask, this is my big ask, is in the comment section today. I'd like you to discuss what you feel you still have to overcome in terms of trauma. Okay. I'll even go first. Okay. I know as a caster, as a witch, as a priest, I still have to get over some of the hurt feelings I have from some of the people that have done me wrong. And it's hard. It's hard to forgive somebody like that. And I don't need to forgive them for them so that they feel better. I need to forgive them for me so that I can move on. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that promise to you guys right now. I'm going to do my best to move beyond the people that have hurt me and become what I'm meant to do. Because at the end of the day, if I give in to them, they've taken my power away, and I refuse to allow them to do that. There's only one force that can hold you back in the universe, and that is yourself. So let that go. And that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to ask is, I'm not saying try to solve your problems completely in the chat. Okay, what I'm going to say is acknowledge that you have them with your friends and your fellow YouTubers. Acknowledge that you have these traumas that you need to work past. And just acknowledge them for now. That'll be enough. Because that's the start. Knowing that you have a problem to overcome is incredibly important to the start of that process. So let's all acknowledge them. Let's take baby steps in trying to get past them. Because I believe all of you can. I believe all of you can get to that point where you are ready for the universe to hand you more stuff to put on your plate. Because each and every one of you is capable of reaching that. Okay? You are capable of that. The couple of dozen people behind you are capable of doing that. Your family, friends, all of us are capable of doing it. But we can't do it alone. So please reach out if you feel the need to move beyond your trauma and you want help to do so. Okay? I'm here. There are licensed professionals in every corner of the world that I guarantee you are more than willing to help you as well. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to a clinical professional, reach out to whoever spiritual advisor that you believe. Okay? I've never been the kind of person that says, well, you have to come to me or you have to go to a member of my order for that kind of help. Reach out to whoever you feel comfortable with. Let them know, hey, I want to work on this. I need help to do so. Because that in itself is a lot of strength too. Being able to say, look, I've got problems and I need help fixing them. That's not weakness. That is acknowledging an issue and moving beyond it. You wouldn't say that if you were trying to build a bridge, going and buying some wood is a weakness, right? It's the same idea here. If you're trying to build that bridge, go to the professionals. Get a book on how to build bridges, heck, right? Whatever you need to do to move past your trauma is okay because you're taking the steps. That is not weakness, that is strength. And yeah, you may not be able to right away. You may not be able to today, tomorrow, even a year from now. It may take an immense amount of work. But that's okay because you're making the effort. And I'll be proud of you. And I am sure every single person in the comments down there will be proud of you. I believe in all of you. I believe you are all capable of doing this. And I want to see you all grow into the people that not just me, not just Steve Rogers, not just Mr. Rogers knows you can be, but the people that deep down you know you can be too. I would love to see also in the comments, if you would, some lessons you've learned from your traumas. Positive, uplifting, good stuff. Let's do that. Let's turn YouTube into a better place. And with that, the sermon is over. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody.